Welcome everyone to Love and the Planets for the week of May 14th. And I am Margaret Gray in Dublin.
And I'm Armand in Long Island.
Well, Armand in Long Island, we have a pretty major week ahead of us, don't we? I mean, my goodness, it's like almost where do we start from? Because all in one week, we've got Uranus moving signs, we've got Venus changing signs, Mars changing signs, and we've got a Taurus New Moon and Mars square Uranus. I mean, my goodness, it's like, what's your sense of really the overall general feeling in relationships for this week?
Oh, I don't know. I'm exhausted thinking about it. The Taurus New Moon kind of brings us. It's one of the most grounding new moons of the year. You know, it's a sense of beginning on a material plane, but everything else is shifting. It's the quiet of the new moon is belied by the fact that Uranus is making a change that is major, and then no sooner does Uranus get into Taurus than Mars comes along and squares him from Aquarius. I really would have to say that it's shifts. There's just shifting and changes, and I don't really see it as being one theme for the week. I just see it as being a sort of jangled mosaic there.
That's a great term, a jangled mosaic. I like that. So really what we're saying is flexibility is going to be needed this week and probably grounding. So maybe to use, as you say, the energies of the new moon, the Taurus new moon, to ground. Now it is trine Pluto and Mars as well. So that may not be easy, but maybe to do really, concrete things, and to remember, particularly in relationships, that everybody is going through similar things. This is not something that's going to apply just to one person or the other. So in a relationship, there may be some tensions that come up that are nothing personal to the other person or to other members of the family or friends, but actually are because there's a sense of really instability. The ground is opening. And of course, we've seen in Hawaii what's going on with the volcano and the lava. And I think that really describes what can happen when Uranus changes signs, that there's really a sense of upheaval, and we don't know quite where the changes are coming from. And of course, we can look at the natal chart and the composite chart to see where does it land. But even looking at that, there's an unexpected feel about it. So there's something new and unexpected coming into our lives.
Indeed. I think a lot of it plays out on the collective level, but I think also too with Uranus screaming through the very end of Aries, patience is very, very low. And then after the 15th, when it goes into Taurus, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be feeling, but it's liable to be fairly extreme, as you say. And so all of this is, everything else that was happening during the week, all the other sign changes are powerful enough. And then we add this really hot, jangling Uranian energy that just sort of shakes things up. Now, Mars is moving into Aquarius, and that represents a bit of a shift for us into Mars in Aquarius. Tends to be very idealistic. It tends to be a little bit more open in terms of sexuality. But Mars is also slowing down to retrograde. He's going to retrograde soon, come back into Capricorn. So, martial stuff gets kind of intense. Again, we start to feel some of the anger issues, the need to assert ourselves, aggression. It's fine when you really want to do something, but we have to be careful not to kind of project onto others and just sort of use our partners and others to let off steam.
Just to remind everyone, of course, that we've done a separate recording for Uranus into Taurus, which will be online soon. So to have a look at that in terms of the big move. And we are also going to be doing a webinar on Uranus and Taurus and the different signs. So just as a reminder, yes, this Mars into Aquarius has quite a detached feel in some way, doesn't it? It feels like it's also that the focus kind of shifts into friendships, community, much more tribe. There's a kind of, it's just a little bit more detached than love relationships, so that our energy goes into that and how that impinges. And, with the retrograde, there's going to be a lot of time to think about those issues. How do we fit in? Do we fit in? Do we feel the same as other people? people. And as you say, all the stuff about, really challenging sexuality issues, challenging conformity. So that's likely to also come to the fore. Now, Venus, of course, moves into Cancer at the weekend, but it's sextiling Uranus. So that kind of makes me wonder that there might be some maybe slight upheavals within families, some issues to do with maybe rocking the boat a little bit, which of course, if there's change going on, the family structure, if you think of systems theory, really needs to be maintained in a certain way. So these transits are really challenging anything that's traditional, I would say, in relationships.
Totally. Venus goes into Cancer, and typically that is very much this is the more maternal side of Venus. This is the more traditional, what I want in relationships, in terms of what I've gotten from my family, from culture and so on. And the first thing that happens, of course, as you said, then we're sextile Uranus. And so it is this kind of, no, maybe that's not what I want. Maybe it has more to do with change and upheaval of those things than it does to, adhering to them.
Now we've got at the weekend, we've also got, of course, the sun goes into Gemini. So there's quite a shift from the sun in Taurus into the sun in Gemini, which really kind of aligns itself up with the Aquarius energy. So again, very much the focus on friendships, but we've also got Venus squaring Chiron, and quincunxing Mars. So, when these two planets are in aspect, the Venus-Mars, but also with the Chiron, again, some old issues to resolve. So it feels like really there are things coming to the surface. There are things really coming up from pretty deep within us on all levels. And so it's how to manage relationships, how to really keep a balance within relationships amidst all the changes. And also, of course, it's a wonderful time to start new relationships, to really think, okay, is this what I want, or do I want to make some radical changes?
It could be a little, to start it could be a good time to, while Venus is at the end of Gemini, it could be a good time to try out different things. I don't know that what gets started at this point in time is really getting started on such a firm ground. But, hey.
True.
But, it depends what's happening in individuals' charts, too. I mean, the overall astrological weather is certainly, the little bit of dice playing going on, but that doesn't mean that individuals won't have a good opportunity.
So look at your own charts, look at your composite chart and see where all of these changes are happening, and keep an eye out on our blogs, which we'll be putting up every day as usual on our Facebook page. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Armand.